There are a handful of decisions in life that change everything. Not just your weekends, not just your waistline. I'm talking about decisions that split your life into a before and an after. Getting married, having kids, moving country. And for some of us, there is another decision that sits right at the top of that list. Whether we want to admit it or not, the decision to stop putting alcohol in your body. Right now, you might think you're considering quitting alcohol. You might think you're just watching a YouTube video. But I want you to understand something. You are standing at a fork in the road. Down one path, you keep drinking. You keep believing the same stories, telling yourself the same lies the alcohol industry has been feeding you since you were a teenager. Down the other path, you make a true decision. You upgrade your brain, you never drink again, and you get a completely different life. This video is about why you must take that second path. Not why it might be a good idea, not why you should probably cut back a bit, why you must. Because once you see alcohol clearly, once you strip away the marketing and the conditioning and the lies, not quitting becomes insane. It's like discovering the thing you've been eating every day is slowly poisoning you and then saying, yeah, but it tastes nice. That's not a lifestyle choice. That's self-sabotage. So my goal over the next 20 minutes is simple. I'm going to rip apart the conditioning that makes alcohol look attractive. I'm going to show you why the benefits of quitting are 10 times bigger than you think. And I'm going to expose the myths that make this feel hard. So quitting stops being this huge, scary sacrifice and becomes the most obvious upgrade of your life. And very quickly, if you want instant access to a brand new video training that I've just finished showing you how to control alcohol in as little as 48 hours, then click the link in the description. This new method is not about using willpower therapy or AA meetings. It's totally different. I do not publish this video anywhere else online, and it's already changing thousands of lives. So click the link below for instant access. Once you're on the next page, enter your name and email address, and your free training will begin. It takes just 7 minutes to watch, but it'll feel like somebody flicks a switch in your brain. And honestly, I'm not sure when I'll start charging for this 7-minute video training. That's how good it is. But whilst it's still available, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and watch that video now. Let's start with something most people never question. Why do we even think alcohol is a normal part of life in the first place? The truth about alcohol, what it really is. I want you to imagine something. Imagine I walk into your kitchen, I take out a bottle with a hazard symbol on the side, and I tell you, this is ethanol. It's a flammable industrial solvent. It's a group 1 carcinogen. That means it's in the same category as asbestos and tobacco. I'm gonna pour some in a glass, drink it, it'll make you more confident, more relaxed, more fun at parties. You'd look at me like I'd lost my mind. You'd say, why are you asking me to drink a chemical you just described as a carcinogenic solvent? And yet, that is exactly what alcohol is. When you strip away the marketing, the pretty bottles, the fancy labels, the cocktails, the romance, the story, what's left in the glass is ethanol, poison, a carcinogen, an industrial solvent. The only reason you don't react with horror when someone offers you a drink is not because alcohol is special. It's because you've been conditioned. Since you were a kid, you've been shown scene after scene after scene. People laughing with a beer in their hand, couples flirting over wine, successful people toasting champagne. Your brain has been trained to link alcohol with relaxation, celebration, connection, confidence, adulthood, success. None of that is built into the liquid. All of it is built into your mind. This is critical to understand because alcohol is not like oxygen or water or nutrition. It's not something your body needs in any quantity. Your body has zero requirement for ethanol. There is no alcohol deficiency. There is only the presence of a toxin and the adaptations your body has to make to survive you drinking it. When you drink, your brain doesn't say, thank you, that's better. It says, okay, this guy is giving me poison again. I need to compensate. That compensation is what creates everything you're struggling with. Cravings, anxiety, low mood, sleep problems, fatigue, shame, and the constant mental tug of war about whether you should drink less, drink tonight, drink just on weekends, drink only beer, drink only wine. Once you really see alcohol for what it is, truly and honestly, the logic of I'll just keep it in my life starts to fall apart. And that's where the conversation about must begins. The most leveraged decision of your life. So why am I so intense about this? Why am I saying you must quit alcohol, not just cut back? Because out of all the decisions you can make to improve your life, removing alcohol is the single highest leverage move you have. When you stop drinking, you don't just fix your drinking problem, you touch everything. Think about it. Alcohol affects your sleep. If you're drinking regularly, your sleep is fragmented. Your body never gets the deep, restorative rest it needs. You wake up tired, anxious, and behind. That fatigue affects your work, your patience with your kids, your decisions around food and exercise, your ability to think clearly. That spills into your bank balance, your relationships, your self-respect. One decision to drink ripples into every area of your life. Now flip it. When you remove alcohol, you don't just get a bit less hungover, you get your mornings back. You get mental clarity, you get emotional stability, you get more time, more energy, more money, more presence. You show up differently as a partner, a parent, a leader, a friend. Your health markers improve. Your confidence grows because you're no longer letting yourself. That is leverage. You change one thing and 10 areas improve at once. This is why, for me, alcohol was the #1 problem to solve. I knew that if I fixed this, my entire life could change. It wasn't about being more disciplined or more spiritual or more motivated. It was about removing the one toxin that was sabotaging everything else. So when I say you must quit, I'm not talking moralistically. I'm talking mathematically. If there's a single decision that gives you the biggest compound return across your health, your wealth, your relationships, your happiness, and your self-respect, why would you not make it? The only real answer is because somewhere deep down, you still believe alcohol is giving you something. And that belief is not an accident. It has been engineered. How you were conditioned to love a poison. Let's talk about conditioning. We humans are not pure logical machines. We are pattern recognition machines. Most of the time, we don't make decisions from first principles. We don't stop and say, what is this substance chemically? What does it do in the body? What are the long-term impacts? We go, what have I seen other people do? What does everyone else say about it? What did my parents do? What does TV tell me? That's called reasoning by analogy. It's fast, it's easy, and it works well enough for most things. If all your friends move to a certain part of town, you don't spend 6 months studying crime rates, school ratings, and transport links. You just move there too. It's efficient. But when it comes to something as serious as pouring a carcinogen into your body on a regular basis, that lazy way of thinking will wreck your life. This is one of those problems that demands first principles thinking. From your first encounters with alcohol, you were taught it was special. You probably watched adults using it to wind down after a hard day. You saw people celebrating with it. Maybe you saw your parents or relatives with a glass in their hand at weddings, birthdays, holidays. TV and movies hammered the association home: stressed character, sexy character, sophisticated character, successful character. So when you finally picked up a drink yourself, your brain had already built a huge library of positive associations. It expected good things: relaxation, connection, fun, confidence. And the first few times you drank, you got a big hit of that effect. Not just from the drug itself, but from the expectation. You felt like you were joining the club, becoming an adult, doing the normal thing. What you did not see was the other side. You didn't see the people shaking in the morning. You didn't see the arguments behind closed doors. You didn't see the health diagnoses, the money problem, the slow erosion of joy and self-respect. Alcohol marketing never shows you the 3 a.m. panic attacks, the regret, the depression, the quiet desperation. It gives you the upside in high definition and hides the downside completely. Over time, your brain builds a simple equation. Alcohol equals good. Alcohol equals relief. Alcohol equals me being myself. That equation runs so deep that even when alcohol starts obviously hurting you with hangovers, anxiety, weight gain, stupid decisions, shame, part of you still clings to the idea that it's a friend. That is conditioning. And that is why, if you don't question it, you'll spend decades negotiating with a poison instead of walking away from it. Myth 1. Alcohol helps me relax and cope. Let's hit the big myths head on because they are the chains that keep you tied to this stuff. The first one is the relaxation myth. I know it's not healthy, but alcohol helps me unwind. It's my way to switch off. It's how I cope with stress. On the surface, it feels true. You have a hard day. Your nervous system is buzzing. You pour a drink, within 20 minutes, you feel that warm, fuzzy, softened edge. Shoulders drop, thoughts slow a little. You think, see, it works. This is how I relax. But what is actually happening? Remember the gas pedal and the brake in your brain. alcohol presses down on the brake. It artificially depresses your nervous system. That's the ah feeling. Your brain, wanting to keep you functioning, responds by turning the brake down and the gas up. It adapts. Over time, you end up in a state where without alcohol, you're more anxious, more restless, more on edge than you would otherwise be. So you drink to relieve that feeling, and temporarily, it works. But the feeling was largely created by the repeated drinking in the first place. It's like setting your house on fire every night and then saying, putting it out is so relaxing. Watching the flames die down really calms me. Yes, the moment the flames go out feels better than the moment they were at their worst. That doesn't mean starting the fire was a good stress management strategy. When you stop drinking and you let your brain recalibrate, something amazing happens. Your baseline level of anxiety drops. It doesn't mean you'll never feel stressed again. Life still happens. But you're no longer yo-yoing between chemical sedation and chemical rebound. You deal with stress with real tools: movement, sleep, boundaries, proper rest, having hard conversations, solving problems. And those actually reduce stress long term instead of just numbing you for a few hours. So when someone says, I need alcohol to relax, what they're really saying is, I have trained my brain to depend on alcohol to escape the anxiety the alcohol is helping to create. Once you see that, the idea that this stuff is helping you cope becomes absurd. Myth 2, alcohol makes me more confident and social. The second myth is that alcohol is your social superpower. Without a drink, I'm awkward, I'm shy, I'm boring. Alcohol turns me into the fun, confident version of me. This one is powerful, especially if you're introverted or you've used alcohol for years as a social lubricant. Here's what actually happens at a social event. You walk in, you feel a bit uncertain, you're in your head. What do I say? Who do I talk to? You grab a drink, because that's what everyone does. You have a few sips. You start talking to someone. As the conversation warms up, your anxiety naturally lowers. You become more engaged, more animated, more present. Your brain goes, this is much better, and then credits the alcohol for the improvement. But what really changed? You. Your attention shifted away from your internal chatter and onto the other person. You started asking questions, listening, laughing, telling stories. The alcohol may have nudged you to loosen your inhibitions a bit faster, but fundamentally, you were doing the socializing. You were making the connection. The drug just gets the credit. Over time, this creates a nasty belief. Sober me equals dull, anxious, boring. Drinking me equals fun, confident, charming. You start to see alcohol as the key to your social identity, and that is a lie. When you remove alcohol and you push through those first few sober social experiences, you discover something quietly revolutionary. You discover that connection comes from presence, not poison. You realize you are capable of talking to strangers, going on dates, going to parties, having deep conversations, all without a drink. And you get the added bonus of actually remembering them, not waking up wondering what you said or did. Ask yourself this: how confident does it really make you if you can only access that version of yourself by ingesting a chemical? True confidence is built by doing things sober, proving to your nervous system that you can handle them. Every sober social event is a deposit into that bank. Every time you use alcohol, you empty the account and borrow fake confidence on a high interest loan. Myth 3, life without alcohol will be boring and empty. The third myth is the boredom myth. If I quit drinking, what will I do? My whole social life revolves around alcohol, holidays, Fridays, celebrations. I'll lose my fun. I'll become that person who just sits there with a sparkling water being miserable. This one keeps so many people stuck because it plays on a very real fear, the fear of losing color in your life. But here's the reality that no one tells you. Alcohol does not add color to your life. Alcohol narrows your life down. Think about your last few years of drinking. How many weekends followed the same pattern? Same bar, same people, same conversations, same hangover, same regret. How many hobbies fell away because you couldn't be bothered? How many mornings where you could have gone for a walk, hit the gym, worked on a project, played with your kids, were instead written off to lying around, feeling rough, and scrolling on your phone? That isn't color. That's Groundhog Day with slightly different outfits. When you remove alcohol, something interesting happens. At first, yes, things feel flat. Your brain has been used to these big artificial spikes of dopamine, and you're not giving it the usual hit. So regular life feels a bit muted. But then, slowly, you start to notice real pleasures again. Good coffee in the morning, a clear head, a body that doesn't feel like it's been run over, sunlight, movement, conversations you actually remember, progress in your work. More importantly, you get time and energy back. The energy to pick up old hobbies or discover new ones. The time to travel properly instead of just going somewhere else to drink. The presence to actually experience your kids rather than just existing near them. The mental bandwidth to build something meaningful, a business, a passion, a deeper relationship. Life doesn't get boring when you remove alcohol. Life gets real. The only thing that becomes boring is the idea of going back to sitting in the same chair, drinking the same poison, having the same shallow conversations, and calling that fun. Once you've tasted the other side, you look at that and think, how did I ever believe that was the best life had to offer? The real benefits, who you become when you quit. So if alcohol isn't relaxing you, isn't really making you more confident, and isn't actually adding fun to your life, what do you gain when you quit? This is where things get exciting, because quitting isn't about losing something you love. It's about reclaiming the version of you that alcohol has been holding hostage. The first upgrade is mental clarity. Waking up without a foggy head, without that vague sense of dread, changes everything. You stop starting each day from a deficit. Over weeks and months, your focus improves. Your memory sharpens. You make better decisions. The small, smart choices that move your life forward become easier because you're not constantly fatigued and frazzled. The second upgrade is emotional stability. When you're drinking, your mood is yanked around by a chemical roller coaster. High, low, high, low. Anxiety spikes, then sedation, then rebound. When you remove that, your nervous system slowly finds a calmer baseline. You still have emotions. This isn't about becoming a robot, but you're no longer living in a constant cycle of numbing and crashing. That makes you more patient, more resilient, more grounded. Your relationships benefit massively from that. The third upgrade is physical. Your sleep gets deeper, your skin improves, your digestion settles, you might lose weight if alcohol was a big source of calories for you. Your immune system gets stronger. Your risk for a whole list of diseases drops. You don't need to become a fitness model for this to matter. Just walking around in a body that isn't inflamed and exhausted all the time feels like someone turned the volume down on discomfort and turned it up on vitality. Then there's the financial upgrade. Even if you think, I don't spend that much, add it up over months and years, not just in money spent on alcohol, but in money spent on food, taxis, hangover cures, missed opportunities, wasted weekends. Quitting is like giving yourself an immediate pay rise and then multiplying that pay rise with the better decisions you make, with a clear head. And maybe the biggest upgrade of all is self-respect. For years, you've probably been making promises to yourself around alcohol. I'll just have 2. I'll only drink on weekends. I'll stop after this holiday. Every time you break those promises, a little part of you stops trusting yourself. When you make a true decision to quit and you follow through, that trust starts to rebuild. You look in the mirror and you see someone who does what they say they'll do. That feeling is priceless. The hidden cost of carrying on. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. There are benefits, but do I really have to quit? Can't I just moderate? That's the negotiation everyone wants to have. The answer depends on one simple question. What is alcohol actually doing in your life? Is it adding real, sustainable value, or is it stealing from you? Imagine your life as it is right now. Then project it forward 10 or 20 years with alcohol still in the mix. Be honest. Do you see your health improving or declining? Do you see your relationships getting deeper or more strained? Do you see your anxiety going down or up? Do you see yourself waking up more energized or more tired and regretful? We love to tell ourselves that drinking is static, that if we're just about managing now, we'll be just about managing forever. But alcohol doesn't work like that. It's corrosive. Tolerance goes up. The line between I've got this under control and this is running my life shifts quietly in the background. Before you know it, years have passed and the gap between who you are and who you could have been has widened. The real cost of not quitting isn't just the hangovers or the shame from last weekend. It's the version of you that never gets to exist. The healthy you, the present parent you, the successful you, the creative, energized, fully alive you. Every year you spend negotiating with alcohol is a year that version of you stays on the shelf. I don't say this to scare you. I say it because when you see the stakes clearly, maybe I'll cut back stops being a reasonable compromise. If you knew a particular habit was quietly deleting 10, 20, 30% of your potential in every area, would you feel neutral about it? Or would you feel a deep, urgent must? Identity, paradigm, and the true decision. Here's the part that most quit drinking advice misses. This isn't just about habits. It isn't just about willpower. It isn't even just about alcohol. It's about identity and paradigm. When I finally stopped drinking for good, something fundamental shifted. For 10 years, I'd been trying, stopping, starting, moderating, bargaining, going to meetings, using willpower, praying, doing one day at a time. My thoughts were dominated by alcohol. Even when I wasn't drinking, I was not drinking. That was my identity. It was exhausting. The change happened when I stopped trying to manage my drinking from inside the old paradigm. The belief that alcohol gave me something, and did the work to see it for what it really is. I studied it. I broke it down. I used first principles thinking. I separated the marketing from the chemistry, the stories from the reality, and slowly, my worldview shifted. I stopped seeing alcohol as a friend or a treat or a reward. I started seeing it as ethanol, poison, a carcinogen that logically had no place in my body. When that clicked, the decision followed. Not a try, not a let's see how it goes, a true decision. The same way a gluten-intolerant person decides not to eat gluten. They're not waking up every day thinking, oh God, I hope I don't eat a croissant today. They've just decided. Gluten doesn't fit with the life they want or the body they have, so it's off the table. That's what must feels like. You go from I really should quit, I know it would be better, to this simply does not belong in my life anymore. And once that identity shift happens, everything gets easier. You're not spending all your mental energy on not drinking. You're simply being the person who doesn't drink. You move on with your life. So when I say you must quit alcohol, I'm really saying you must upgrade the way you see alcohol so that quitting becomes the only decision that makes sense. You must, because the life you actually want cannot coexist with regularly pouring a carcinogenic solvent into your brain and calling it self-care. Turning motivation into movement. By now, I hope you can feel something stirring. Maybe it's excitement, maybe it's fear, maybe it's a mix of both. You're starting to see that alcohol isn't the friend you thought it was. You're starting to taste the possibility of a life on the other side. The question is, what do you do with that feeling? The first thing is this: honest with yourself. Not tomorrow, now. How is alcohol really showing up in your life? What is it costing you in health, money, time, energy, self-respect, relationships? If you keep going exactly as you are for the next 5 years, where do you end up? Don't sugarcoat it, don't catastrophize it, just tell yourself the truth. The second thing is to flip it. Imagine 5 years alcohol-free. Really imagine it. You wake up clear, you're fit, or at least fitter. You've saved thousands of pounds or dollars. You've built something, a career, a business, a body, a relationship that you're proud of. You look back at your old drinking self, and the main feeling you have is relief. You think, thank God I don't put that in my body anymore. Can you see that version of you? Can you feel them? Because they are not some mythical creature. They are just you, minus the ethanol. The third thing is to make a decision, not a vague, I should probably do something about this. A decision that says, I am done. That doesn't mean you never wobble. It doesn't mean everything is easy, but it sets the direction. It turns this from a hobby, watching the odd video, feeling inspired, going back to normal, into a turning point. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I'm scared, what about withdrawal? What about cravings? What about social situations? That means you understand there are practical things to handle. That's why there are other videos on this channel about withdrawal timelines, about cravings, about first 7 days, about 90-day transformations. You don't have to figure it all out in your head before you start. You just have to decide and then take the next step. Let's finish where we began. There are a handful of decisions that split your life into a before and an after. For you, this might be one of them. Before, living in a body and mind that are constantly being knocked sideways by a legal drug you've been taught to love. After waking up clear, proud, energized, building a life that actually feels like yours. You don't have to earn the right to quit. You don't have to hit some magical rock bottom. You don't have to prove you're bad enough to stop. You can make a true decision today, simply because you've seen the truth. Alcohol is ethanol. It is not your friend. It does not relax you in any lasting way. It does not make you more you. It does not add real fun to your life. It takes and takes and takes. You must quit alcohol not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to stop letting a poisonous liquid dictate the quality of your life. You must quit because the cost of carrying on is too high, and the benefits of stopping are too big to ignore. You must quit because there is a version of you on the other side who is not thinking about this stuff anymore, who has moved on, who is busy living. If you want to see exactly what happens to your brain and body in the first 90 days after you stop drinking, the upgrades to your sleep, your mood, your focus, your energy, then watch the video linked on your screen now. Let this be the moment you stop just thinking about quitting and actually step on to the other path. The fork in the road is right in front of you. Now you know what's down each path. The only question left is, which one are you gonna take?